Phillips again on the inside, leading your field down. Donovan Bonilla back to the blue, or purple and pink RPG colors after some woes yesterday. But it still is a fast go-kart, and he is still one fast driver. Mexico, Austin, Texas, your front row. 40-60 for KA Senior, and we're green.
Slow start there for Phillips, bringing it up nice and easy. Otherwise, everybody having to get up on the throttle, get it back up onto the pipe as they work their way through turn 1 and 2. Big wreck coming through. There is a gaggle of cars, out of a dozen or so, wrecked over in turn number 7. Early on, everybody trying to get rolling. The crew trying to get those cars out of the way. Xander, there is at least a dozen drivers or more involved in this one.
Oh, I mean, there is a ton. Cooper, O'Clair, Oliver, Calvo. I mean, that started about probably 15th or so, and then just wiped out about another, I think it's call it maybe 20 deep. I'm surprised that we haven't gone red, but obviously the officials believe they can clear the racetrack, and they will. The last to get back underway, Eli Warren in the Host DD Gillard, and a brutal start. It all kicked off with Alex Machado, Nico Sarfati, and crew. And that would put it right at literally, again, about 10 to 15 where that wreck began. So we have cleared out probably a third of the field there.
At least 15 or 16 drivers involved. We're only getting 32, 33, 34 coming across the line right now. So all those drivers involved, drivers not able to continue, so or at least well back. Cooper O'Clair, Nico Sarfati, Oliver Calvo, Lorenzo Kaufman, Xander mentioned, Eli Ward, Santiago Fernandez, all these drivers way back here.
Yeah, I mean, talk about how many of those drivers were gearing up. We're waiting the entire afternoon to get out there and try to make something happen for the main. See this start here first. Raheem Alibay is one of the first to poke out and go to the inside. He and Landon Skinner collide a little bit. I don't think that's where the wreck starts. It starts with Sarfati getting turned.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly who kind of got into his left rear and spun him, but then there was just it was a full track blockage. Nowhere to go for anyone.
And I'll say this, just looking at the time, we're essentially the top 14 getting through cleanly. As Ty Fisher, 3.8 seconds back. You go to Abu Ammar, who's back 5.3. So that's a second and a half. So really the top 14 were able to get through cleanly. Everybody else, of course, you saw the inside, all making kind of evasive maneuvers, trying to run around the outside of the track, won't be able to come through.
Henry Wheeler just got a complete pile driven into the side pod of him. I don't even know who was really at fault there, because the whole inside lane ended up into the left rear tire of the 903. He just lost about 5 spots right in turn number 11. A lot of over-aggressive racing. I don't even want to call it just aggressive here, Rob. This is just straight up, I mean, contact level karting here in KA Senior to get underway. 3 laps completed so far. Long race ahead. Looks like we're going to swap second as Frankie Mossman leads the way. Dono takes over P2.
Yeah, right there, Peyton Phillips, 2-year Polson going back to P3. I think he'd more than be happy to have all these 3 of these drivers pull away. Oliver Hodgson's up into the 4th position already. That's dangerous for the drivers up front. He's got no one behind him either. He's able to run cleanly. Here comes Overbeck. He's going to make a move to the inside of Blake Nash. So all the chaos has allowed James Overbeck to work his way up into 6th position as well.
Yeah, talk about maybe a bit finally going away for the Brandon Jarczyk Racing crew, right? James Overbeck yesterday had to overcome the pack twice in the day today. He ends up 6th here at the end of lap number 4, only 2.2 seconds back from the lead group and not a singular leader. He got a shot to take that number 1 plate back to the top, and so does the driver he just passed, who was really fast yesterday, and Blake Nash. Mauricio Hernandez trails, and then it's the number 2 plate of Finnegan Bailiff. Number 1, number 2, number 3 from last year, currently in 6th, 9th, and 10th, while fast Frankie Mossman leads Bonilla and Phillips through 8 and 9.
Yeah, we'll see how things kind of shake out here in the mid part of this race. We're only 4 laps in, working lap 5, the first quarter of a 20-lapper. So, indeed, how have you taken care of your tires through that pre-final? Oliver Hodgson's going to have some company here from Diego Ramos. He's worked his way up here as well in the Burrow Art Machine. There's Overbeck right there with Nash behind him, Hernandez and Bailiff. We'll see whether or not the leaders are pulling away. We'll look at lap times. 55.8 up front, 55.6 for Ramos. He goes purple. How about Bailiff? 55.4. Finnegan Bailiff from P9 fastest driver on the racetrack. You need the tail of that group with Overbeck, Nash, Hernandez. So you need that group pretty strong right now. They've got themselves a pretty good gap as well. 2.3 seconds back to Henry Wheeler.
Yeah, that is healthy for sure. Finn Bailiff finally well in the picture to start it. I mean, again, think of his Pro X33 final. Last time he was on the racetrack into the mud here, right at the exit of this corner in turns 8 and 9 is where he almost ended up after going off in 7. But he looked to Blake Nash there, said, "Don't worry about it. Keep going. We'll stay in this group." We got a nice gap back to Wheeler and then Max Saga and Ty Fisher, so no pressure. And he's going to live by his word there and find himself some respect. One of those rare times, Rob, we actually see someone point forward and not dive bomb the driver in front the next turn.
Yeah, just keep pushing. Let's go after this next guy, see if we can get Hernandez or whoever it may be. Mossman out front setting the pace pretty early here. Bonilla went by Phillips a couple laps ago, but he has not yet made the move on Mossman. We'll see whether or not he tries here. Mossman's been pretty quick. Here comes Ramos. He's going to make his move on Hodgson. Well, Ramos now up into 4th spot. Hodgson goes back to 5th. Bailiff again, another purple lap. He is the fastest outright driver on the racetrack. 55.482.
Frankie Mossman and Jay Howard driver development equally fast today. I mean, they have definitely picked up the pace, and it's tough when you're the leader at this racetrack. Between the natural kind of dirtying of the surface that happens from anyone just making passes and going offline, to being the first driver to the, be the snowplow of all that mud. If anyone goes off the racetrack, they drag it on, and normally most of the offs, when they return to the circuit, they're at the back of the field. And the leader's the next guy to hit that dirty patch, and he kind of clears the path for everyone behind him. So for Frankie to still be putting in respectable lap times out front, and not really showing any errors or mistakes is good. The bad part is, again, by having a racetrack designed this way that doesn't have a million feet of concrete runoff, is that it's really hard to be in Frankie's shoes and build the gap that Oliver did yesterday. You see already visually Ramos and Hodgson, they knocked off 3 tenths last time by. They are there.
Yeah, and then we're not seeing any of the battles, right? It's not like Phillips has been trying to aggressively get by Bonilla, forcing the issue and really going side by side in some of the tighter corners that could allow Mossman to pull away. In fact, Bonilla's actually locked on to Mossman, and Phillips actually falling now into the clutches of Diego Ramos. He just went purple now. So Ramos is the fast lap of 55.387. He's a half second faster than Phillips on that last lap. So look at both Ramos and Hodgson to potentially make a move here pretty soon. We know that Ramos likes to go quickly, and there he goes on cue to the inside of Phillips. Ramos not waiting at all.
Not one bit. Diego Ramos ready to get all the way to the top of the scoring pylon for PSL karting. Right now he's matching what his fellow countryman was able to do in that pro shifter name, Mateus Morgado. The one we didn't get to speak to that'll be walking away with some hardware today, provisionally of course. P3 for him, yellow flags waving. One driver off, that is Max Saga. Max Saga, the California-based driver, Southern California-based driver for Speed Content Racing. Spent a lot of his time actually training with fast Frankie Mossman.
He was 13th too.
Yeah, he was running great.
Yeah, that's tough for Max.
So for our main group of what we call 14, 15 that have survived the first lap unscathed, we're down one more. Still not yet to the halfway mark. 9 down, 11 to go, and Peyton Phillips now probably worrying a little bit. That sunshine coming back on the racetrack. Did they take too much front trip out of the Arcane Tony kart, or is it going to pay off here in just a couple moments when this race gets to the nitty-gritty end? Because Oliver Hodgson is going to want to get to the lead. We've already seen Ramos take his way to second, and there's another group of 3 coming up behind Phillips here. We're 8 deep in the main pack, or sorry, 9 deep going to Finn Bailiff here in this main pack. We'll be really close once they make that first lead change.
And you're going to get a really good look at the top 9 right here. I think Bailiff may have found a spot. I think he's able to get by potentially Hernandez as they come through. But Bailiff, I believe, up at 8. Yeah, Hernandez goes down to 9. So Bailiff up a spot, as is Blake Nash. Blake Nash up to 7. Bailiff now at 8. There's that group. It's that second group led by Nash right now. Here comes Overbeck. He's going to make his bid for the spot to the inside of Peyton. He'll book that one as well. Overbeck on the move now. He is now up into the P5 position.
Yeah, James Overbeck Brandon Georgia Track Racing now top 5. Yesterday, I mean, even with it being a bit frustrating climbing through the field, solid points haul, and with how many drivers are here this weekend in KA Senior, how many who could seriously contend for the championship if they run all 3 rounds. Just getting top 5 might be enough. I mean, Donovan Mania there, sticking it on Frankie Mossman to take over second and shuffling back to third now. Remember, Dono didn't finish yesterday's main. Ramos was a factor, not a major player, but decent. Mossman the same, of course, and Hodgson won it. But who knows, the Comp Kart Factory crew, they want to do, I think, a little more big racing this year, but they have not committed to a full championship campaign yet.
Yeah, a lot of changes, as we know, coming with that crew and the new formation of the Karting Solutions group. Oh, there's Mossman and Bonilla going down in here. We saw it here now. It's this one we just talked about. Hodgson's trying to find a way by. Look at Ramos out there. Here comes Overbeck to the inside of Hodgson as well. They're going to go side by side out of 11. Overbeck's going to have to give that one up. Who else is coming in the back? That's Phillips there as well. Hodgson's trying to go by Mossman. Thinks about the inside of 11. They're in contact a little bit there. Overbeck's going to come out of the corner. Hodgson's going to come out of the tail end of that one.
Yeah, the bumper is caught behind the front tire, and Finn Bailiff nowhere to go, and Hodgson's able to just barely get it dislodged. Ollie was right behind Mossman, and then, of course, with James Overbeck wanting Oliver to go and then having to jam on the brakes, Hodgson didn't have any room for error. He didn't have room to get kind of pushed any bit further forward. Once he did, it pushed the left front of the bumper behind the tire. That's why he went wide, and then had to kick it out and come home the straightaway. Finn went into the grass, but they both now back reset. Still a lot of time left, Rob, and we've still got 8 laps to go. Frankie Mossman, though, needs to be wary that Donovan Mania and Diego Ramos, the two are really building a good margin now.
Indeed, Ramos out, but not anywhere close to the fast lap. He turned to 55.387. He did a 55.7 last time by about 4/10 off, but he still had that open racetrack. Maybe that's the most important thing right now. A number of drivers on the move. We saw that quickly Hodgson was able to get by Nash. They came out of the straightaway, and then he brought Fitting and Bailiff with him as well. There's the 981 of Brandon Lemke. He's got by Hernandez, so he's up into another spot too.
That should be Wheeler. Hernandez, I believe, we just got to the end of this pack. Yeah, Hernandez on the RPC Cosmic. He's our 9th guy in line right there at 33. Yeah, Henry Wheeler and Brandon Lemke, I mean, they've been just a couple seconds away from the main group, not quite having the speed to track them down. A lot of battling to bring them back in the mix, but they're on their own. Ham Zanbar hanging on here. He's got some of the fast drivers charging back up to him. Alex Machado has raced his way all the way back to 15th now after going to, well, pretty far back. At least 20 spots back. He's coming to a stop on that opening lap, and the groups behind him are starting to catch up to Anbar also. I apologize to Ham Zanbar. I did accidentally call him the KAB driver. I misspoke for one of the other RT Motorsport entries. Ham's on his senior debut. Oh no, something's happened. Alex Machado. He just dropped off the face of the earth there on the Sodi. Right as I called him coming back to the field here, well, we had this little bit of a lull. Wow, I guess I jinxed it.
Commentator's curse doesn't happen. We're seeing a little bit of a breakaway here right now between the two leaders, Diego Ramos and Donovan Bonilla. It could come down to these two drivers here, and we'll have 5 to go when they come back around. In the top group, the faster times, 55.5, and that would be Mossman and Overbeck. James Overbeck actually up on the wheel as well. They're trying to close back up here on Ramos. If we have a look at those lap times there, the split, of course, between second and third as well is 7 tenths of a second. Does Mossman have what it takes to reel it back in? He does a little bit, but not by much. The Mossman needs about 2 tenths of a second on Ramos there. Again, you got to go all the way back again to the, I want to say, really faster than that would have been Hodgson at a 55.613. So Hodgson still got pace, but it's all this couple of tenths of a second here and there. It's almost like you're blocking a little bit to lose a couple of tenths. Right now, more of a fight up drivers kind of leaning out. You got Ramos and Bonilla together. You got Mossman and Overbeck together, and then you got Phillips with Hodgson, Nash, and Bailiff.
Yeah, one of those technically sound drivers, Diego Ramos, who has been instrumental in PSL karting developing the Vero Large single speed division for the last season and a half, and especially even really since he got there. He and Mateus Morgado together as teammates, and then last season, this season, he's been the Lone Ranger for most of their R&D, and he has, I think, made some serious inroads with them here in North America. And on top of that, of course, much like some of our superstars we've talked about that he'll be going up against later on today, some of the ones here in this UK group spend a lot of time doing driver development. You're not going to see Diego Ramos put a wheel wrong. He's been consistent lap after lap within half a tenth. Donovan Bonilla doing everything in his power to just stay there and close up a little bit, but yeah, indeed, Rob, a game of inches right now, and it's to the dismay of fast Frankie Mossman and James Overbeck, because they are better. They are just clawing, begging for Bonilla to send it just one time, and they'll be able to join the party.
That's exactly it. Come on, start fighting. Like you said, if you look at the lap time, they are consistently a tenth or 2/10 quicker, but they're still back by almost 7/10 of a second. They're just not close enough. They just need that 1 cent.
Oh, black flag given there to some of the lappers. That was showing how close the leaders are getting. About a straightaway away from the back of the field here now. Hopefully all of the traffic will be able to bail out, and we'll get a clean and unscathed battle for the lead and the win. Peyton Phillips, Oliver Hodgson trading that pit spot back as the comp car driver has faded as well. They'll send it on Peyton there in 7th. That's going to probably fire them both down the board, and outside of some major chaos up front, they won't be in the fight for the podium.
James Overbeck trying to recover from that 12th place finish yesterday to see if he can get himself up onto the podium at the very least. You know, Donovan Bonilla is going to have to at least make some kind of attempt before it's all over. He's closing up here on Ramos. 2 laps to go, and then come back around for KA100C, your Nash Motorsports, the sponsor of this one. And we got 4 drivers in the battle up front: Ramos, Bonilla, Mossman, and Overbeck.
This race is gearing up right now. It's winding up for something big. And I think we're right about to see it starting here. Lap and a half to go. Down the backstretch. Ramos sees the pressure. He goes low. Bonilla follows. Mossman to the top. Last second dive to the inside of Bonilla. And he ends up inside of him and by.
Yeah, that was a double move there from Bonilla. He moved to the inside to think about going with Ramos. Came back outside. And as you said, Mossman sold him a dummy. Threw it to the inside, was able to take the spot. Here comes Overbeck. Oh, and a big move to the inside as well for Bonilla, trying to block on Overbeck coming into turn number 11. Here's the gap right now for Ramos over Mossman. Mossman has been quicker by a couple of tenths of a second every lap. Mossman is going to have to be absolutely perfect candor. He's going to give himself a shot to get it done either in 6, 11, or 14.
On Sunday, a month and a half ago, Frankie Mossman was celebrating his first ever Skusa National Tier Championship in the Winter Series. This weekend begins the bid for a ProTour, a national championship. A half-car length back with Ramos to force it to block, and it's game on now, Rob. Down on the inside in 7.
Yeah.
Over under, sitting at 8 and 9.
And Xander Mossman able to run a really good racing line there. You saw how good he was coming through turn number 6. He's closed right back up. Expect the inside run here for, yeah, indeed, Ramos going to block to the inside. This is going to give a big one to the outside for Mossman. Almost side by side coming out of turn number 12.
He knows exactly where he wants to be. He wants Ramos on the dirty side of the racetrack. Ramos is going to park it. Mossman there. Gets a little tap from Bonilla. It breaks him loose. And Diego Ramos hangs on. He wins in Houston.
What a fantastic last